Hello, this is Helen Stevenson of Reformulary Group with Part 3 of the vaccine journey. Canada's domestic vaccine candidates have not emerged at the same pace as those in the UK and Europe, although we do have a few here at various stages. Medicago is a Quebec City-based firm developing a plant-based vaccine. It's the most advanced Canadian vaccine candidate. Other candidates are Providence Therapeutics, Vido Intervac, Entos Pharmaceuticals. There were a few opportunities to advance Canada's access to vaccines that slipped through our grasp. On May 16, 2020, the federal government announced plans to begin a vaccine trial on Canadian soil with Chinese manufacturer CanSino. Almost immediately, things went wrong. By August, Canada abandoned the candidate to pursue other vaccines. Analysts suspect the situation with Meng Wanzhou played a role. Providence Therapeutics, which I mentioned previously, asked for $35 million of funding back in the spring and didn't receive it. At the time, they were only a couple months behind Moderna. Their CEO speculates that had they received it, they would currently be in late-stage trials. There has been a long-standing tension between pharma's desire to invest in and bring new medicines to market in Canada, and the government's desire for lower prices and accessibility. Historically, some trace this to the 1968 decision to weaken patent protection. Many believe that this resulted in a loss of pharma innovation in Canada. That said, we have mass-produced vaccinations in a short period of time before. Canada's supply of the H1N1 vaccine was manufactured entirely domestically at GSK's Quebec plant, which is also where much of our annual flu shot supply is produced. After the H1N1 crisis, industry and government resolved that we should never again only rely on one source of domestic vaccines, but steps were not taken to ensure this actually happened. Tension between industry and government played out in recent discussion over changes to the Patented Medicine Prices Review Board, or PMPRB, regulations, which affect drug prices in Canada. Industry lobbied against the regulations, and some stakeholders argued they stopped pharma from investing in the manufacturer capacity that could have helped with vaccine production. We've seen very encouraging numbers from trials in terms of levels of effectiveness. Some have expressed surprise that a new vaccine is so much more effective than the flu shot, which has been worked on for many decades. But this isn't a good comparison because the two illnesses are different and caused by different viruses. Influenza, or the flu, is a respiratory illness with some common symptoms with COVID-19. There are several types, and it circulates seasonally with many variants. The vaccine, or the flu shot, is based on a best guess of which kinds will be dominant. COVID-19 is a respiratory illness that becomes severe more frequently than the flu. It is one disease with emerging variants, and the virus has never circulated before. The vaccine targets the virus that we know to be in circulation. It is important to think of immunity in terms of severity, hospitalizations and deaths, and not just case numbers. The early signs we have received on immunity provided by the vaccine are encouraging. Israel Health Ministry data showed a greater than 99% effectiveness among people who had received their second Pfizer dose a week ago, when immunity is believed to be fully kicked in. 371 out of 715,000 people who passed at least a week after receiving 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine contracted the virus. In other words, 0.04% contracted COVID-19, and only 16 needed to be hospitalized. Several mutations of the COVID-19 virus have been identified in the past months. The best known is B.1.1.7, or the UK variant, which produced a large number of mutations in the fall of 2020. The South African variant is B.1.351 that emerged independently from B.1.1.7. It was originally detected in early October 2020. In Brazil, a variant called P.1 emerged that was first identified in travelers from Brazil who were tested during routine screening at an airport in Japan. A West Coast variant called Cal.20C was first found in July 2020 in Los Angeles County. The most distinctive characteristic of variants is increased transmissibility, with some evidence of more severe disease in the UK variant. Canada has had its setbacks. In mid-January, Pfizer announced plans to refurbish its main production plant in Belgium, resulting in delays in vaccine shipments. There were also self-inflicted wounds. Ontario inexplicably stopped vaccinating for several days over the holidays, and Canada declined to exercise an option for additional Moderna vaccines because they wouldn't be delivered until after the government hoped to have the entire population vaccinated. The government did switch gears, and in February, Moderna announced that Canada increased its confirmed order. The fourth and final part of our video series talks about vaccine rollout in Canada, as well as in Israel, the UK, and the US.